and bring the press down.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you have had a fantastic weekend. I hope the beginning to your week is going brilliantly, and welcome back to the workshop. Today is going to be another fantastically exciting day as we make a gigantic steel fossil. Thanks for joining me. Now, the first step in our prehistoric project, going to be taking a piece of steel, and what we're going to do with said piece of steel is we're going to form the tapered, the twisted, and the rolled up thing that's going to get jammed into the fossil. The forge is hot, and we have that piece of bar stock. Now, this isn't just mild steel. We're going to be exerting a lot of force on this later in the day. You'll understand why when the time comes. And in order for it not to deform, we're going to be making that out of a tougher steel. We're using 4340. That is a chromium nickel steel with 0.4% carbon. That means it's going to be tough. It's going to withstand the beating and the squeezing that we're going to put on it to form it into our big block of steel for the actual fossil. Now, this is going to need some hefty drawing out. We need some serious force. And so we got the Pilkington power hammer turned on. This is going to do a lovely job of drawing this out. Save the old arms a little bit. So I'm just going to grab this. Now, what this is a wrench with a bar on it. Now, why do I have a wrench with a bar on it? It is for twisting so that you can get a little bit of a more even twist by controlling with both hands instead of just the one. Now, speaking of twisting, this, of course, is what we're going to be twisting. Firstly, I'd just like to say, what fun it is to forge tapers under a power hammer. It's such a fun thing. It's the simplest thing you could do, but it's just so fun. Satisfying, clean taper, never gets old, never gets old. Anyway, we need to twist this, so we're going to use the vise, we're going to use the twisting wrench, and we're going to be using the torch. Did I just burn my hair off? That was close. I need a haircut anyway. So my plan is as follows. I'm going to heat up, starting at the top, and we're going to start twisting and working our way down the piece with isolated heat from the oxypropane torch. Of a twist as possible. Now, this is very, very difficult to do. And what it requires right now is that I've just heated up that middle section again because it's not quite proportionally twisted enough. And we're going to just ever so gently twist it some more. And of course, we're just judging by eye to make sure that the twist is even. And I think that has now got it. We've got a little bit of a better angle of twist there. There's a spot right here, however, that we're going to heat up and do the same to again. And again, a little bit of twist right in there. Beautiful, that's making it a much more even twist. I really like that. So as you can see, there are a couple of things to consider here as I'm twisting this. One, it's bent. That's not an issue. We can straighten that with a wooden mallet. But two, I've been gripping here on the end, but the end needs to be twisted. How am I going to do that? It would probably be a good idea to know. The best I can think is that we're going to taper it down with a hand hammer some more, and then we're just going to very gently grip the very end and just keep twisting it all the way up to the tip. Hopefully this works well. And we'll heat it up for the forging in here. So now we're going to begin the process of rolling this over. I'm using a wooden mallet, so hopefully we don't destroy this pattern too much. Well, the pattern, this isn't Damascus, what am I talking about? So hopefully we don't destroy this twirl too much. There we go, twirl, that's much better. So we'll gently work its way around, make sure that I take another heat, and we're going to keep doing it. So I'm just finishing up this beautiful, beautiful spiral here with the twist. I could not be more happy with how this is looking. I'm just tightening this up. Now we use the wooden mallet, so it means that all these corners of the twist are still crisp and beautiful. Very exciting. We're about done. This is going to be ready to be cut off. And we need to find a way so that we can have it flat across the bottom, or at least have an interesting shape as it gets driven in while being supported from the top. That's not making sense. You'll understand it once I think more about it and I'm able to articulate it a little better. So to give this little whatchamadoodah a little more shape, I'm going to just come in here from the backside with a bob punch, and I'm going to try and pop it out. It's going to give it a little more life, even though this thing's fossilized and dead for billions of years probably. But we'll give it a little more life. Fantabulous. So, in order for us to have the lump of metal that is going to accept the fossil bit, of which I don't know the name, we're going to cut off this piece of steel. This is another enormous piece of 3.5-inch round, and it's 1045 steel, which is suitable for making sledgehammers, but apparently also suitable for making fossils. So we are going to lock this in the vise. We're going to turn on our Bailey bandsaw, and we're going to let this come down. And I'm going to take about another 1/2 inch of material because go big or go home, am I right? So here is my plan. In order for this to stay stable when we're putting immense pressure on this, I'm going to TIG weld this inside all around here and also add in this little stud. This will also get TIG welded to it. Now, one issue is, of course, there is a scale coating on this, so we're not going to be getting the best TIG weld ever in the world. Not that I can do the best TIG weld ever in the world, but it's going to be a lot better than if it wasn't there. It's going to keep it all stable and supported while we hammer on it or press it. I don't know which one it is that we're going to do, but basically we're going to flood it with some TIG filler and it'll hopefully stay a little stronger than it would be otherwise. So here's the mess we've got right now. We're now going to put that in there and we're going to try and weld that thing on. So this is what we got it looking like right now. Sadly, that stud, I got it tacked and it was bent. It's going to be just fine. On the other side, no welds are peeking through, so I'm very happy about that. And now we're going to walk over to our brand new steel racks, as seen being built in yesterday's episode. And we are going to search for a piece of steel to weld to the back. I think this will work just lovely. So this is a piece of 50 by 12, that's about 2 inches by half an inch, and I think this will work just fine. I shouldn't need too much material because we're going to cut this off and then run to the power hammer and draw out a handle. So the plan is, we have this piece which has a nice big paddle on it, and this is made out of mild steel. Now this here is made out of 4340, it's a tougher steel, and if I'm to go slapping my power hammer dies onto it, it might well hurt the power hammer dies, especially considering how none of it is flat, none of it's, true and proper. So what we're going to do is we're going to weld this onto the paddle so that when we hit it, we're not going to mess up all our tools, and it gives us a little bit more forgiveness with hitting. That does not sound very English-like, but we can leave it in there. Well, hey, we have now pigeon pooped all over it. Basically what I did is I just threw down so much filler rod all around the corners there, just trying to lay as much metal down there so that it's as best supported as possible. How well supported does that mean it is? I don't really know. But what I do know, just about, is that by welding it, we're putting a lot of tension on there because we're putting a huge amount of heat in one small area. That huge amount of heat then cools and it's forming a lot of stress. So what we're going to do, obviously, it's in the forge. We're going to let this heat up to a critical temperature, and then we're going to let it air cool. We're going to let it normalize. That'll normalize the stresses throughout, and hopefully mean that we can avoid cracking it, especially because we're welding dissimilar metals, dissimilar filler metal, dissimilar scrolly fossil thing, and dissimilar hitting pad. Goodness gracious, having difficulties today. And with the magic of editing, we're out of the fire, and I can leave that on the swage block to cool down. And now, it is time to take this monstrosity of a piece of steel and put this in the forge to make our fossil. So, the piece of steel has been heating up and it is beautifully hot in the forge. I'm gonna put my gloves on because there's gonna be a hell of a lot of radiant heat coming off this piece. And we're gonna be using this Norton hydraulic press to squeeze this down and upset it into a beautiful bulbous upset shape. So we're gonna turn this on, pull it out of the fire, and mush it down. Okay, so right now, we have this squished down on the press. The press struggled, but she made it. It's an interesting feature that this has is when it's struggling, it'll actually then go to what I believe is a vibratory setting. Very interesting, so it almost hammers its way down. It did it. That's the biggest piece of steel I've ever put under that thing. It made its way through, and we then took it to the power hammer, working on the diagonals, working all the way around. We put a heavy chamfer on there. Love the look of it. The next step is going to be taking our little fossil imprint and driving that in there. We need a little bit of a larger flat spot to do it. And I think we're going to do the main squeezing of this under the press to have a little more control. Let's do some flattening. I reckon that'll do. And now what I'm going to do, put this back in the forge, and now we'll turn on the press. Okay, so we're coming in for the last heat here. I just want to go a little bit deeper. We're going to clean it out just a little bit with the brush, line this up, and bring the press down. Like a machine gun. And just like that. Isn't that beautiful? Let's put the touch mark on. And now we brush it. Thank you, Sam. Ow, ow, ooh. I have wanted to make one of these since I was 11 years old, and I went to a local blacksmith by the name of Nigel Barnett. He showed me around his workshop, and he made me a gigantic doorstop fossil, and it is one of the coolest objects I own, and it's one of the things that really got me motivated to start in the craft of blacksmithing. Oh my goodness, what incredible group of people blacksmiths are. So giving, so wonderful that he showed me that, because that helped spark my journey into this craft, which I'm very grateful for, because it is a lot of fun. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching me make this gigantic fossil. It has been a blast, and I can't wait to see you tomorrow on the next episode, because we got great things coming. Great things coming this week. I can't wait to bring you along. Make sure you hit subscribe if you're new. Make sure you go check out another 2 of my videos, and most of all, get out to your workshops, get out to your garage, get into your kitchen, wherever it is that you make stuff, go make stuff, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.